Hey, it's Matt Harrison. This is Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Before we begin, it helps us so much if you support this show with a follow, a like, a subscription. It helps us even more if you give us a great rating, like 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're listening. We really appreciate it. The Week 11 Fanball slate is all set to go. There's a Thursday night 5x5 with the Patriots and Jets, but we combined it with the Madrid game that features the Commanders and Dolphins. And there's a few more interesting guys in that game, in my opinion. A Sunday and Monday 5x5 are on the docket as well. There's also the Peacock, which has a top prize of $1,000, and also a Thursday night football contest on the Fanball mobile app for only $1. If you're listening on Thursday afternoon or evening, go get in that before it's too late. Join now and use the promo code ALMOST for a $20 deposit match for first-time depositors. We're also brought to you by Game Blazers, which just launched its second half Game Blazers Pass. It's a rewards pass like you've never seen, where you earn XP for almost everything in the app, and you level up your pass for boosts and bonuses. Get the premium pass for even better rewards. Use referral code FFAD when you register. You'll get a free starter pack plus a free rare pack, which usually costs $25. Download the Game Blazers app today. Today, we dive into the Sunday slate for Week 11 on Fanball with Trevor Jones. Here's some music first.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
Hi, everybody. You're supposed to say hi, Dr. Nick. Trevor, come on. Where are you on that one? Matt Harrison, Trevor Jones here for our normal DFS show. It's Week 11. And just a reminder, we generally use Fanball figures because we work there. Most of the information can be used on, the other salary cap sites as well. And before we do that, Trevor, I got to get to some of the relevant news from around the league.
News team, assemble!
First thing on the news, and I'll let you comment, Trevor. The Packers lost 2 home games in a row and scored like 23 points in those 2 home games. Your team sucks. Comment.
Yeah, I'm a big Matt LaFleur guy in general, but I don't know if you saw the Eagles calling out our shotgun zone run on one of the last plays of the game. And then I saw a TikTok cut up where it's like, yeah, here's 15, third and short, like Josh Jacobs inside zone lefts. I'm kind of like, oh boy. So
they really like that play.
I guess, yeah. So hopefully we turn it around against the Giants, but I'm a little worried about that one too. So
don't worry, I've got Josh Jacobs as one of my favorite plays this week. The slump buster is coming. It's coming. Let's talk about the around the league news, though. Famous Jameis starts for the Giants on Sunday due to Jackson Dart's concussion. He might be without Darius Slayton, though, who has a hamstring injury.
We will get to some Giants later here in this pod.
Yeah, we will talk some Packers Giants right off the bat, I'm sure. Ramondre Stevenson was ruled out for Thursday night. That's good news for anybody who wants to play Travion Henderson at all, because he's off the injury report. I implore you to fire up Henderson for tonight's game. Another Patriots note, Kayshon Boutte, he was ruled out for Thursday night as well. That brings Mac Hollins in as a plausible starter. If you need a random wide receiver starter, the Jets are not as good at defense without Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams. Mac Hollins is in play.
And I think he's going to wear cleats in this one. He's a big barefoot guy. He just that's his day-to-day life is just barefoot. So it's kind of interesting that he plays the sport where it's like, well, you got to put shoes on, buddy.
I did not know that at all.
Yeah. He's a wild
running
character.
Around on the field without cleats on?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what his deal is.
All right. The hippie Mac Hollins. I love it. Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin will both miss the Sunday morning game, we think, in Madrid. The Commanders have a bye after that, and they're hopeful that both can return in Week 13. Our friend Chris Godwin, something encouraging. He was limited in practice today. Ooh. I don't know if he comes back this week, but he was limited. So that's something. CJ Stroud still not practicing. I'd be shocked if he goes on Sunday. We'll talk a little bit more about the Texans a little bit later in the show. Rico Dowdle and Lamar Jackson. They're not on the same team, but they each missed their respective Wednesday practices for rest days. Don't look into those too much. They'll probably both play. The Bears, though, this one's kind of interesting. DJ Moore has shoulder, hip, and groin issues, and they're thinking that he's more on the doubtful side of questionable. Romo Dunze missed practice on Wednesday with an ankle injury, but they think he'll go. And DeAndre Swift never practices on Wednesday because I think he has a deal at some local Chicago tavern where he gets buy one, get one free Chicago style pizzas. So he's not gonna, he'll probably play, but he misses practice every Wednesday. Trevor, anything on the Bears?
If Moore and Dunze miss, I would think about Luther Burden. I assume he's 32 or 3,300 or something.
All right. Lastly, we're going to talk plenty of Bills later, but Dalton Kincaid probably out this week with a hamstring injury. That's kind of a bummer.
It is, but we might discuss his fill-in later in the show.
We might. There's a few Bills in this show. It's heavy Bills. Time to dig into week 11, and we encourage you to go try out Fanball, both on the web and the Fanball mobile app. And remember, if you use the promo code ALMOST to get a $20 deposit match if you're new there. Actually, if you just haven't used that promo code, you can use it as well. Doesn't even matter if you're new. Just go play some Fanball. It's like a free entry into the Peacock. Let's go. All right, let's talk about some of our favorite DFS plays from week 11. Noted we have a Madrid game that knocks out the Commanders and Dolphins. Good matchups for both of them this week. But the Saints and Colts are on bye. Nobody's really missing the Saints all that much. The Colts, they probably are. And we can't pick on the Cowboys this week because they're on the Monday night game, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're missing a couple of our normal punching bags.
I mean, the Bengals are back, though, so we got that.
That's true.
Trevor, you start up today. Who's the player in close to half of all your lineups you'll make this week?
Yeah, speaking of the Bengals being back, we'll just keep it simple. Jamar Chase, 8,500 at Pittsburgh. Don't need to go too much into it. Last time Chase faced the Steelers was the famous 23 target, 16 catch, 161-1 effort 4 weeks ago against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's already given up the most targets, most catches to wide receivers in the league, in addition to the second most yards allowed, and they've already had their bye. I prefer Chase to Puka at 8,400, as I really like the Seattle defense this week. I just think they're really good a really tough matchup for Puka, and I like Jamar over JSN, $300 more as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on all of those points. There might be another Bengals receiver that we talk about later in the show as well. My guy in half of my lineups this week, it's your boy, Josh Jacobs, 7,300. I'm going to guess they're going to disguise their Josh Jacobs runs just a little bit more this week as they were kind of called out on it. He's only 7,300 against the Giants. Green Bay couldn't get the offense going at all last week against the Eagles and really couldn't get it going the week before either. But the Giants are slump busters, and the Packers probably need to do this using Josh Jacobs. He scored in 8 of 9 games this season, including the only score for the Packers last week. He scored in 17 of his last 18 games. That's insane. The Packers wide receiver room is really banged up right now, and they lost Tucker Kraft. Their best weapon left is Josh Jacobs. Well, the Giants are allowing the highest yards per carry in the league this year at 5.8, the second most rush yards allowed to opposing backs. This game has 40-point upside for Jacobs.
I believe half of the starting defense for the Giants is on the injury report right now as well. So yeah, there's a lot of factors really kind of just bringing it together here for Josh.
But yet you didn't take him. You had first pick at this, so
I did.
Yeah. You didn't take him anywhere. You're off. You're off the Packers.
A little bit, a little scared. We'll see.
Okay. Player above 7,000 on Fanball salary who you're not putting in your lineups this week.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lamar, 7,300 at Cleveland. And that is the last thing I'll say about Lamar Jackson in this analysis. Baltimore Cleveland's over-under is 39.5 right now. One of 2 games on the slate below 40. That's not good. I don't think the Browns offense can put any pressure on this Ravens offense to need to keep scoring. Cleveland has put up more than 17 points twice all season. Those performances came against the Dolphins and the Jets. The Browns defense has given up the fewest pass attempts and passing yards this year because you don't need to. The game is in Cleveland with projected winds of 22 miles an hour and gusts up to 45. So check Sunday morning to be sure. I don't really like the wind analysis, but sustained of 20 is notable. It's just a bad spot for Lamar. Like, is he still a decent play? Sure, but I'd rather go with Josh or Hurts or one of the other top quarterbacks here.
It seems like a Derrick Henry versus Quinshon Judkins game.
There could be 60 carries between the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. My guy that I don't have in any of my lineups, and the last time I used Saquon Barkley in this spot, he went off. So he's 7,600. He's facing off against the Lions, but the Lions defense is just fantastic against the run. They've given up the fewest running back touches per game at only 21 touches per game, and the fewest combo yards per game at 93. And if Saquon gets all 93 of those yards, he's got a fine day. But Tank Bigsby and Will Shipley are factoring into games a lot more than people think they are. They combined for 9 touches last week and 12 the week before. So I just think that they factor in a lot more, and Saquon probably needs a lot more of the touch share in order to come up with a good day here.
Yeah, and he was struggling so much earlier in the season, and I wonder if Philly recognized, like, we can't keep loading this guy up with 25 touches a game, and he's been better recently with, as far as more efficient recently when Bigsby and Shipley have taken a couple carries.
His big game, by the way, was against the Giants. Hey, Josh Jacobs. The slump buster. All right, our favorite quarterback picks of the week. Who's your expensive guy, Trevor?
Yeah, we'll drop down from Lamar. We'll go to Jalen Hurts, 7,200 home Detroit on Sunday night. I rarely play Hurts in DFS just because Philly's usually so run heavy. They do have the third lowest pass rate over expectation over the past 4 weeks. Obviously, they just want to play good defense, run the ball, hit one long ball to Smith or Brown on the outside. In spots where they get pushed by an opposing offense, though, Hurts has a lot of upside. If you take out week 1, when Detroit put up just 13 on Green Bay, the Lions lead the league in scoring offense. And Detroit's got a good defense, but they are bottom 10 in passing touchdowns allowed, and they've allowed the 6th most quarterback rushing attempts, obviously notable for a guy like Jalen Hurts. Hurts only has 1 rushing touchdown in the last 6 games, which is his longest rushing touchdown drought since week 9 of 2022. I think he's going to get a rushing touchdown, at least one this week. Plus, Philly runs the cheese play, where normal rules of football no longer apply, and you can jump off sides and just do whatever you want. So I think Hurts has a couple of ground scores today.
We already kind of poo-pooed Saquon in this one too. So if it's not Saquon, it's got to be Hurts in some way.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, my expensive quarterback is Josh Allen at 7,600 versus Tampa Bay, and I think that the Bills are just embarrassed as to what happened last week down in Miami. And Josh Allen didn't even really throw a dud last week in the loss down there. He still came away with 25 Fanball points. But I just find it hard to believe that they won't come out swinging after that loss now at home against a Florida team in 40-degree weather with likely snow showers. And Tampa's just okay against quarterbacks. They give up 255 passing yards per game. That's the 11th most. But they haven't faced many rushing quarterbacks at all. And the last rushing quarterback they faced was the aforementioned Jalen Hurts in week 4. He had 62 rushing yards that day. Tyrod Taylor, they played in week 3. He had 48 on the ground. And that's basically it for running quarterbacks that they've seen this year. So it feels like Josh Allen is just like a 30-point minimum, but obviously always has that huge upside.
Yeah, I think I had him as my expensive quarterback last week. I also bet on the Bills -8. And I'm watching the game at noon just being like, oh boy. Yeah. It's cooked. And Josh Allen put most of his fantasy points together in like the 4th quarter too. So he's got that floor no matter what. He's in there. Moving on cheap quarterback here. I got Jacoby Brissett, 5,500 at home against San Francisco. Did you know Brissett's got at least 250 and 2 touchdowns at all 4 of his starts this year? I know he's been solid, but I was like, oh, okay. He's given a smidge of rushing value as well. He's averaging 20 yards per game across those 4 starts. San Francisco's given up multiple quarterback scores in 5 of their last 6. They've held only 1 of those quarterbacks below 240 yards. Also, Trey McBride is obviously the best target for Mr. Brissett, and the Niners just got blasted by the Rams' 4-headed tight end room to the tune of 10, 114, and 2. So the path of attack is very good for Brissett against this beat to hell Niners defense.
Well, and I don't think they have Marvin Harrison in this game too. I believe he's already been ruled out.
Okay, I know he's at least questionable. Yep.
Trey McBride might be sitting on the game of all games, and I don't think either of us highlighted him at all in this one. But a little bonus tight end pick at Trey McBride. My budget quarterback is Davis Mills at 5,200 because I just saw come up on my phone that CJ Stroud has been ruled out for this week. They're at Tennessee. If you give Davis Mills a full week of practice to get in the game plan, he'll give you 292 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. And then he added 20 rushing yards and a rushing score on the ground. It was the second best quarterback day for the Texans quarterbacks all season. That's a direct shot at CJ Stroud, by the way. The Titans are middle of the pack against the pass, but the one issue could be for Davis Mills that the Texans might not be forced to pass the ball all that often in this one. Still, the Titans have allowed multiple passing scores in 3 straight games, and they're generally bad at football.
The Texans are not a good rushing offense either. So it's not like, well, we'll just lean on the ground game the entire time.
Hold your tongue. I got a Texans running back coming up in a little bit.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
All right. Who's your expensive running back as we go on to that position?
Yeah, it's CMC, 8,500 at Arizona. He might just be a permanent fixture here. I think he's been in like 5 or 6 of these now. He's not as much of a lock this week just because we have so many good options. Chase is back, Puka, JSN, Bijan. So we can't afford everyone, but even in a down week against the Rams last week, CMC had 20 touches. He put 14 PPR points through the air with 8 catches. He has 54 red zone opportunities for San Francisco. So that's a target, I guess a pass or a rush. The rest of the team has 45 combined. Arizona is a middling run defense who was just gashed for Seattle for 39-204 to 2 last week and allowed 55-2 to Josh Jacobs 3 games ago as well.
There we go. My expensive pick is the same guy I used last week. He's the same price as last week, but we're going to get a different outcome. James Cook, 7,400 at home versus Tampa Bay. It could have gone better for him last week, but who would have thought the Dolphins were going to jump out to just a wild commanding lead early in the game? Bounce back this week against the Bucs. Tampa's middle of the pack overall against runners, but one aspect I like here, the Bucs have allowed the most receiving yards to opposing backs. They're allowing over 11 yards per reception to the running back position.
That doesn't seem... that seems insane. It's just a first down every time.
Isn't that crazy? Now, Cook isn't always featured in the passing game. He gets like 2 targets per game. But as we noted before, Dalton Kincaid looks like he's trending toward out. And I know that you're going to talk up Dawson Knox a little bit, but Cook might just be the default short option. And if the Bills are doing their homework and they're seeing 11 yards per reception to running backs, it might just be dump off at the line of scrimmage and let Cook run. So I like him quite a bit.
James Cook's clearly by far the best option they have. I mean, Dawson Knox, we'll talk about him. He's good for the price, but he's not standing in the way of James Cook touches, certainly.
Who's your cheap running back?
Cheap running back this week. We got another Bengals Chase. We'll go Chase Brown, 5,500 at Pittsburgh. Important note here, Samaje Perine didn't practice Wednesday coming out of a bye with an injury. If he doesn't play, this is a great play. If Perine does play, it's like a 90% great play. Because Perine has touch counts of 8, 7, and 10 in the last 3 games, full games that he's had with Chase Brown. Without Perine last game, 2 weeks ago, Brown saw his most touches, 19 since week 1, and set a season high in catches with 8. In their last 3 games, the Steelers defense allowed 108 combo yards and 1 to Kamani Vidal?
Kamani Vidal.
Vidal. Okay. I thought I heard Vidal somewhere. Anyways, and then they gave up 132 combo yards, a touchdown, and 6 catches to Packers backs 3 games ago. Weirdly, they shut down Jonathan Taylor in between those 2 2 games. But this is a potential shootout spot, as we saw a few weeks ago. If Brown gets like 90% of the running back work, it's just smash that all day.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be able to shut down the wide receivers and the running back. So we'll see how this one goes. My cheap guys, Woody Marks, 5,400 at Tennessee. And noted, I went Buffalo and Houston back-to-back in quarterback and running back, which is not really what you want to do in building lineups all the time. So I'm going to have to diversify a little bit. Marks has led the Houston backfield in 3 of the last 4 weeks. He led in touches last week over Nick Chubb, 16-6. And the Titans are terrible against the run. 4.9 yards per carry. That's 5th worst in the league. 135 combo yards per game. That's 11th worst. But the main issue, they've allowed the most touchdowns to the running back position this year. Already 14 touchdowns to running backs. So I think Woody Marks, he's got a touchdown written all over him. They're giving up like over a touchdown and a half per game. And I think that he probably cobbles together 80 to 90 combo yards here.
Oh, I like that. He's widened the gap between he and Chubb over the last couple of weeks as far as playing time and snaps. What are we at? Expensive receiver here?
Yeah, why not?
I'll go with Rashee Rice, 7,600 at Denver. Denver still without Patrick Surtain, so that's our first bar cleared. In the first week without Surtain, Nico Collins put together a nice game as the number 1 receiver. He had 7 for 75, and that was catching most of those from Davis Mills. Last week they saw Vegas. The Broncos did, who doesn't have a functional passing offense. Kansas City's a different story. They had 3 passing touchdowns in 3 of their last 4 games. In his 3 games back this year, Rice is already 20 catches and 3 touchdowns and was the team leader in targets each game.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. My expensive pick, this one's a little bit weird. Justin Jefferson, you ever heard of him? 7,500 against the Bears. I think he's going to be wildly underowned this week because he's still priced highly. And everybody saw what the vibes were like for the Vikings, and particularly JJ last week. There were 2 interceptions happened on deep balls that were targeted toward Jefferson. He's seen 9 and 12 targets in the last 2 weeks, though, both with JJ McCarthy as the quarterback. The Bears secondary dealing with injuries to safety Jaquan Brisker and corner Tyreek Stevenson. And they already weren't very good against wide receivers before that. They've allowed the 10th most yards and already 13 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. That's 5th most in the league. So a little bit of a bounce back here for Justin Jefferson. By the way, JJ McCarthy has not yet lost to an NFC North opponent.
Well, I saw the Michigan. He only wins in Michigan bit when they won in Detroit a couple weeks ago. That was good. I will say I actually had Jefferson written up as my expensive receivers at first as well. I think he's an excellent tournament play. Like you said, there's a lot of nobody wants to click him because he's still got that price tag, and there was just a lot of highlight level kind of bad plays there.
And I almost did Nico Collins as my expensive guy, but I was like, I can't do 3 Texans.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree that it's a great bounce back spot for JJ. We'll go to the other end of the spectrum on the cheap guys here, and we'll do a little peacocking for Parker Washington. We'll put him back into the mixer here. So obviously it hit last week as my big play, but I didn't realize he was the punt returner, and he scored a punt return touchdown. So a little bit lucky, but it was still a decent call, I think. So he's $500 more expensive than last week. It's another good spot for him, though. Jacksonville's pass catching core is still beat to hell. Travis Hunter was just ruled out for the year. Washington led the team in targets last week with 7. The next closest guy had 3 targets. He did catch one of those for a touchdown. And Parker Washington was also the only Jags receiver to see a red zone target last week, and he saw 4 of them.
Ooh,
he's a nice little receiver. So yeah, 4,100, good price.
You're a really big fan of Parker Washington. I'm done poo-pooing Parker. It was a crazy call last week, but it paid off for you. My budget wide receiver is T. Higgins at 5,800, and that's a pricing mistake. Like against Pittsburgh, the Steelers allow the most receptions and second most yards to wide receivers. Higgins has had double-digit fantasy points in 5 straight games, including all 4 Flacco starts, and he's scored 4 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. This is a player who's playing well, who's getting targets, who's getting touchdowns against one of the worst secondaries in the league. I think I almost put T. Higgins as my lock of the week over Josh Jacobs. I think I'll put him in a ton of lineups.
I think you could play him you could play him in cash games with Chase Brown.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of points available in that one.
Absolutely.
We'll head to expensive tight end. I've got Theo Johnson for the Giants, 3,700 home against Green Bay.
That's expensive.
Well, sort of, because it's like Trey McBride to like Kyle Pitts, and there's like 8 guys, and I don't really like playing most of them usually. So expensive to me is who's under 4K, and then who's flat is 3K. So that's kind of where we went. Theo Jameis it's just a start. It's a boost for all the Giants. He's willing to be more aggressive than Russ is. He's going to put the ball in harm's way. It's going to make for more points, right? Johnson has at least 3 catches in 6 of his last 7. He capped it off with a 7 for 75 effort against Chicago last week. Green Bay struggles against the tight end, bottom 10 in yards allowed. It's a very concentrated target share right now, too. Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Theo Johnson make up over 68% of the team's target share over the past 2 weeks. So you know where the ball's going.
Wow. That's ballsy right there. Let's see if it pays off for you. All right, my expensive tight end pick is George Kittle, 5,400 at Arizona. The death of George Kittle has been greatly exaggerated, and I think people just kind of forgot that he caught all 9 of his targets last week for 84 yards and a touchdown. That ain't bad. He's back. He's totally healthy, and the Cardinals have barely faced any good tight ends this year. And they're middle of the pack right now in tight end defense, but it's because they've really only faced 3 tight ends that were any good. Jake Ferguson, Tucker Kraft, and Tyler Warren. Those were the 3. They all hit double-digit PPR points. I think George Kittle's in a just fine spot here, and 5,400 is not even that expensive.
No, and like we say, he's one of the 3 guys that has that super upside. Has the I can house one for 50 kind of ability. So yeah, we'll go to the cheap tight end we've been teasing here. Dawson Knox replacing Dalton Kincaid. 3,000 for the Bills, home against Tampa. Knox is a talented player who the Bills gave a second contract to. Capable pass catcher. After Knox's injury last week, he went 3 for 37. In his last full season prior to Kincaid's arrival, which was 2022. Knox finished the year with a 48, 517, and 6 line. So he's not a complete scrub. And we're going to need the salary if we're going to play Chase, Puka, CMC, Bijan, Justin Jefferson, etc. The game also has the second highest total of the week, so it's just a cheap way to get exposure to a potential shootout.
In the one game Dalton Kincaid missed earlier this year, Dawson Knox scored a touchdown as well.
Ooh, there you go.
Pat Freiermuth is my cheap tight end, and this is the insert tight end going against the Bengals portion of the show. Scott Fish found a few of these stats that I stole off of him. Opposing quarterbacks have a 153 passer rating when throwing to a tight end against the Bengals this year. That's
a perfect rating is 158, by the way.
Almost perfect. In each of the last 5 games, the Bengals have allowed a tight end touchdown, including 4 tight end touchdowns to the Steelers in week 7, including 5 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns to Pat Freiermuth in that game. There have been more instances of tight ends scoring 20 or more Fanball points against the Bengals than there have been instances of the Bengals holding a tight end group to fewer than 12 PPR points. You get a better chance at 20 than you do for less than 12.
That's man.
That's just wild stuff. And I mean, insert Jonnu Smith or Darnell Washington if you want to differentiate there. I think Pat Freiermuth's my favorite out of them, but Jonnu Smith led in snaps last week, and they do kind of rotate it around a little bit there. It would be nice if there was only one tight end there and we could just hammer this, but Freiermuth, I think, is my favorite of the 3 this week.
And I think he's probably the best receiving threat of those 3 options, right? Darnell Washington is a 6'9", 320-pound. You
don't think he's going to catch a touchdown being 6'9"?
They will throw him the fades. Yep, they will throw him the fades. But
you could go triple tight end lineup and use all 3 Steelers tight ends and have all the money in the world for every other player you want,
and score 9 points with those 3 spots.
Pick Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback too.
Yeah,
big
there you go.
Steelers stack. Yeah. All right, who's your deep sleeper this week, Trevor?
Yeah, we referenced him earlier talking about some Giants. Jameis Winston, stone minimum $5,000 at home against the Packers. In 7 starts last year for Cleveland, Jameis's average stat line was 291 yards, 1.7 touchdowns per game. To be fair, he averaged the same amount of interceptions, but you aren't penalized for that on Fanball, so we don't care about that. That's over 18 Fanball points per game at minimum. Notably, Winston had more than 40 attempts in 5 of those 7. I'm not saying this Giants team will throw the ball 40 times, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them air it out a little more. Jameis should have a lock on the job. They're not going back to Russ. There's a better chance Russ gets cut, I think, than gets another starting nod on the Giants. And his Winston's willingness to push the ball downfield just elevates everybody, not just the pass catchers on his team, but those on the other team by all the sacks, interceptions, just more volatility.
Trevor, are you nervous at all that it's the new coach coming in with Mike Kafka as the interim coach and Jameis Winston as the feel-good YOLO quarterback?
Yes,
Ooh.
specifically because Brian Dable, it sounds like maybe his big weakness was he was a hothead, right? And maybe kind of a dick. And so when that guy leaves the building, sometimes it's just like, isn't football fun again, guys? Like, so yes, I am absolutely worried about that.
Afraid that Jameis Winston's going to eat those W's this week.
He might, man.
All right, my deep sleeper, Troy Franklin. He's also 5,000. He's going up against Kansas City. That's a tough matchup. However, in the last 3 weeks, there's only 2 players who have more targets than Troy Franklin. Their names are Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. In the last 5 weeks, he's number 7 amongst wide receivers in targets. He has 4 touchdowns in that span, and only Devontae Adams and Drake London have more receiving touchdowns than Troy Franklin in the last 5 weeks. This matchup is difficult. The Chiefs have been great against wide receivers, but 4 different wide receivers have hit at least 11 Fanball points in the last 4 games, and Troy Franklin is the red zone target. 13 red zone targets this year, including 2 last week. Cortland Sutton only has 6 on the year. So Troy Franklin's doubling up Cortland Sutton in red zone targets. And I think he'll be completely underowned. Maybe nobody will be on him. And for 5,000, he's a nice little receiver pivot here in a cash game. Well, not a cash game, a GPP.
I had to look up his stats because as you were saying them, I'm like, that can't be right. And it's 10 targets, 8 targets, 10, 9, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
But he's only had the one like super game. He hasn't broken 100 yards yet, but it seems like it's coming.
Also, his Bo Nix shower theory, right, Trevor?
Correct. The shower narrative is in play. Yep.
There we go. Do you have a lineup for this week?
I do. I was just looking at Troy Franklin. All right. Quarterback, we'll go Jacoby and Jameis. Running backs got Chase Brown, CMC. Receiver Chase, Jamar Chase, Parker Washington, Rashee Rice, Theo Johnson, and I have Trey McBride at flex right now. We'll see about that.
I don't mind that. Trey McBride's going to get like double-digit catches in this game. Almost guaranteed.
Yeah, we probably should have talked about Trey McBride more.
I mean, he wasn't on our list, and we've talked about Trey McBride now, I think 3 times. So I think we got him covered.
And he's on the 5x5 as well, I believe.
Speaking of the 5x5, let's pop that sucker up right now. And Trey McBride's a $3 player in this one. There's a couple other interesting guys. I mentioned Derrick Henry versus Quinshon Judkins in that weird bad weather game in Cleveland, and they both might have 20 touches in this game. They're both $1 in this one. Any other guys that stuck out to you for this week?
Yeah, $1, I like AJ Brown. I know he's done like almost literally nothing for a few weeks, but we know he's got as much talent as anybody. And then I don't know, McBride at 3, I like. It's priced pretty appropriately. I think it's a tougher build than normal.
And this is the 5x5 that's labeled "Oops, all superstars," because really, like, they're all superstars this week. Saquon Barkley's down at 2. Devontae Adams is down at 2. Like, Zay Flowers is $1. You don't want to play Marvin Harrison because I'm pretty sure he's out at $1. But there's some pretty good plays here. You have your Jacoby Brissett play in at $2. There's a lot of interesting guys that you can get in your lineup this week. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown at only 3. Wow.
St. Brown and AJ Brown, $4 for the Sunday Night Hammer. That's not bad.
There we go. All right. A reminder on Game Blazers. Try Game Blazers this week to win your share of $36,000 in prizes in free roll games. Sign up with referral code FFAD for a free starter pack and a free rare pack. And they got some extra bonus stuff coming the week of Thanksgiving. So it's probably time to get a few more packs in your repertoire, in your, what did they call it? Inventory. There we go. Your inventory. I actually won a couple bucks on our Game Blazers internal last week. So
I finished first in that contest. So
wow. Did you?
Or maybe that was 2 weeks ago. Sorry, 2 weeks ago. But yes, I bought the pass as well. And if you're gonna play Game Blazers, buy the pass. Like, make that your first priority.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
If you're gonna be serious about it, buy it.
If you're gonna be serious, buy it. Learn more about the Game Blazers pass at GameBlazers.com. Trevor, thanks. Good luck to your Packers in the YOLO Jameis Winston game, and we'll see you next week on Fantasy Football Almost Daily.
This was Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts.